Peace and love, everybody. Hope all is well with you. Just quick FYI, man. Want to share some thoughts with you, man. In regards to Leviticus chapter 25, verse 10, the public policy, and also uh, 96 Stat 1211, the states, as well as congressional records, June 23rd, 2010, by House Representative Republican, the Honorable Stephen T. King, in regards to broken promises. Um, Basically, man, this is going to be very quick. It's not going to be long, drawn out or anything. When you look at what happened in 1933, the enactment of what they call public policy, and basically the theft of everyone's birthright in the state. The main one is the right to be not subjected to forced or chattel servitude, except as punishment for a crime underneath the 13th Amendment. And in order for a crime to exist, there had to have been unaliving someone, or causing an injury to someone, or damage to their property, which is what is called a tort. None of that, at the exception of one's nativity, had ever taken place. As a child born into this world, there was no possible crime that you could have committed in the world at that time. Being born is not a crime. That is a natural aspect of life if you're here on this earth plane, living and breathing. So, to put everyone into a chattel servitude via the birth certificate and the adhesion contract known as Social Security card was treasonous and criminal in and of itself by these so-called elected officials, the people that you elected, put in office. All of them, it doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, they all agreed to this. It was criminal and treasonous to enslave children from birth. Declaration of Human Rights, United Nations, Article 4, tells you that slavery shall be prohibited in all of its forms. Peonage is also federally prohibited underneath United States statutes at large, Stat 546, I think it's volume 14, volume 15, don't quote me on that, but it's either 14 Stat 546 or 15 Stat 546, I can't recall right now. But it tells you that peonage is also abolished, and it's a federal crime. And it's codified at 42 USC, section 1994. So just by you living and breathing on this earth plane, it's not a crime. It doesn't warrant chattel servitude or peonage in any form. As a child or baby, you could not have harmed anybody or damaged anyone's property. Okay? So, the purveyors of this chattel servitude, your congressmen, your governors, your state and federal legislative bodies, executive bodies, state and federal, judicial bodies, state and federal. They know this. They've been knowing this. So when you look at Leviticus chapter 25, verse 10, and ye shall hallow the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout the land. It shall be a jubilee unto you. Each of you shall return unto his family, clan, and each of you shall return unto his estate, his property. 1933, when your birthright was stolen from you, they had 50 years, and they knew this, to return everything back which they've stolen, with interest, principal plus interest. And 1983 was declared as the year of the Bible. Now, that was passed in, I want to say, October of 1982. United States Statutes at Large, 96 Stat 1211, Public Law 97-280. So they knew that they had to return everything to you, but they made no announcement. They did not proclaim liberty throughout the land, as Leviticus chapter 25, verse 10 commanded them to do. They did not return you unto your families. They did not return you unto your estates and possessions. But the law from which they draw their law from, which is the Bible, make no mistake, and they also draw their law from the 42 laws of Mayat. How do we know this? Because when they passed the Bible into law, 1983, 1982 enacted, 1983 declared the year of the Bible, which was 50 years. They did it in 49 years. The 49th year, the 50th year was 1983, which goes according to Leviticus chapter 25, verse 10. They never told y'all any of this, okay? So you have a right to return unto your families, clans, tribes, nations, empires. All of that is consanguineous, and also based on use solely the law of soil and your possessions. Anything that they may have hypothecated or predicated off of your estate, profits, all of that, because you're the backbone of it. They're supposed to return that to you as well. Okay? So, with that being stated, there's nothing that they can say or do about it to deny you what's rightfully yours, what rightfully belongs to you. So, just something, man, you may want to look into. Do your research. The information is there. Even read the book or the Senate document number 43, 73rd Congress, first session, by George Cyrus Thorpe, Contracts Payable in Gold. The Senate adopted his book. It tells you in there the ultimate ownership of all property is with the state. Individual so-called ownership is by virtue of government, which amounts to mere user status. And use must be in accordance with law and subordinate to the necessities of the state. But we know that, yes, they did pass the Bible in the law, and they acknowledged the scriptures according to the Declaration of Independence, which is what they based their independence on when they wanted to break away from Great Britain. In the Declaration of Independence, it tells you they did that according to the laws of nature and nature's God. Okay? So, we as Paleo-American autochthonous Aborigine Moors, we know that this is Egypt of the West, or Tamerika. You know, Egypt, Kemet, Egypt of the West, Tamaray, Ta'asa, land of Osiris. You know, Amenti, we know this. So, when they use the scriptures, that means that they also acknowledge Acts 7 verse 22, which states, and Moses was wise in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, and he was powerful in words and in deeds. Well, the Torah is attributed to him, And it tells you in there that Leviticus is the third book in the Torah, chapter 25, verse 10. Leviticus, Levi means law. So this was a law that they were supposed to do in 1983. And they did to a degree to absolve themselves or try to get some type of repentance unto Yahweh Hawasha Allah, but they never proclaimed it throughout the land. And they didn't return you unto your family clans and your property, possessions, estate. Okay? So, with that being stated, I'm not going to stay long. Just thought, man, while I was out and about, dropping these few jewels to you so you can look it up. And you also have, let me say this, you also have a perfected security interest in your possessions, real and personal, in your estate. You can look this up in the Uniform Commercial Code 9-311, perfection of security interest, pursuant to treaties, statutes, and treaty statutes, and I can't remember the other thing, but it's another thing in there. And 96-1211, in accordance with the scriptures, and it deals with property law, that accounts for that as well. So, hope y'all enjoyed this little tidbit, and we'll rotate soon. Peace and love. Ashe.